Reminder letters. Used in conjunction with telephone chasing, this is the best all-round credit control procedure. But first off, what we must look at is the actual layout of a reminder letter. It should always be addressed to a named individual or somebody with a title within the organisation. You should sign it personally, and you should show your job title as one with authority. Show a telephone extension. Why? Well, because if you want them to phone in, you want them to come to you personally. Keep the words simple and direct. Don't dress things up, don't make it too complicated. You're asking for payment of an outstanding invoice or a series of invoices. Never more than one page in length, because otherwise it gets lost in the detail. The actual amount due should always be given prominence at the top of the letter, quite often either in a different colour or in bold, so it stands out and there's no confusion as to exactly what you're asking for. When it comes to issuing a series of reminder letters, you can have the first, second and third reminder, but when it comes to the final demand, you should only ever issue one. Quite often you'll hear of a final demand, letter before action, 7-day notice. Take the decision, choose one and stick with it. And finally, you should always do what you say when you say you're going to do it. Don't ever issue a 7-day notice and not follow it through, because otherwise they'll get another one and they'll think they've got another 7 days or 14 days. Collecting by telephone. By far the most powerful collection tool in any credit control department. But the key to it is preparation. Make sure you know what the job was, you know what the invoices are that are outstanding, and what the product or service was that was provided. Always control the conversation, but don't be aggressive, be assertive. Make sure that you always confirm the method of payment that's been promised. For example, if it's a cheque that they're promised, when's the cheque being raised? How many signatories are required? When are they in? And when's it going to be released? If it's a backs payment, how many backs runs do they run throughout the month? What day do they run it? And on what run do they expect to have your payment on? Always read back at the end of the conversation the key elements that you've discussed. So if it is a payment, just read back to confirm when and how. If it's a query, make sure you've taken the details down correctly, because you'll need to pass that information on and you don't want to delay any resolution. Make a diary note to follow this call up, whether it's to check to see if the payment's been received or whether it's to confirm that the query has been resolved. Collection activity is vital later on down the line if payment is not forthcoming. And finally, has the customer confirmed receipt of the invoice? Going back to the courtesy call. If you've made this call, you should already be aware that they've received the invoice and that there's no query. So that should only be a case that you're actually finding out when payment's going to be released.